All right, welcome back to High Risk Equals Cold Cash. We're diving into the nastiest, juiciest billionaire beefs, the stuff that makes tabloids blush and regulators sprint. Today, from campus hustles to prison cells, artist fights to crypto collapses. Strap in.
Yeah, y'all thought billionaire lives were all yachts and caviar? Nah, they got drama. They fight like exes in the comments. Let's go.
Zuckerberg versus Winklevoss, Harvard origins. Okay, we gotta start with the one that reads like a movie script. Fall 2003, Harvard. Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, big rower type, look like they were carved from teak, and their friend Divya Narendra. They want a Harvard-only social network, harvardconnection.com. They need a web developer. Who they call?
Mark Zuckerberg, Little Zuck, campus celebrity, made a hot or not clone. Kid's got hustle, looks like he owns 3 hoodies. They sit in a dining hall, pitch the plan. We get there first, we expand to other schools. They hand him the idea.
Zuck nods. He says the polite, yeah, I'll help, but he don't build their site. Instead, he strings them along while secretly building his own almost identical thing. Leaked messages later show him bragging to friends about screwing them from the jump. Maka whisper, "Did you decide what you're gonna do about Harvard Connection? I'm gonna F them probably in the ear."
And he didn't just copy the idea. He straight up hacked into their Connect You site, created fake profiles, and made one of Cameron's look like a white supremacist. Who does that? That's sociopath levels of pettiness. Favorite music, The Sound of Myself Meat Smoking.
Facebook launches in 2004. The twins sue. Years of litigation. Settlement about $65 million. You'd think that's game over, right? But no, these dudes took a lot of that payout, rode into crypto early, and ended up multi-billionaires anyway. Smirk. So both sides get rich. Wild.
But trust, the emotional damage, it don't go away. Every time those twins see Facebook headlines, they feel like someone stole their lunch money and invested it in rockets.
Now, let's go from campus chaos to state violence. This is not joking. This is brutal. Post-Soviet Russia, mid-90s. Mikhail Khodorkovsky buys into privatizations, builds Yuko's, becomes the richest man in Russia. He owns a fifth of Russia's oil. Mansion, private jet, living big.
But then Vladimir Putin consolidates power after 1999. He tells oligarchs, privately, firm, you can be rich but stay out of politics. Most obey. Khodorkovsky doesn't. He funds opposition, speaks against corruption. Big mistake.
February 2003, at a televised meeting, Khodorkovsky calls out Putin. Putin's classic response? That cold, sarcastic, no you stare. If you roast a dictator to his face and he looks at you like that, you're cooked. 8 months later, Khodorkovsky's arrested on tax evasion and fraud charges that make no sense. Some laws applied retroactively, ridiculous sums alleged, lawyers threatened, associates rounded up and prosecuted.
He gets convicted, his company dismantled. He ends up in prison, stabbed in the face in a prison camp, ostracized. His assets are seized. A few years later, he gets a weird parole cycle, then more trials. The whole thing reads like a political show trial. Even Obama called it odd.
And then, in 2013, Putin suddenly pardons him, citing his mother's illness and maybe cleaning up his public image before the Sochi Olympics. Khodorkovsky leaves Russia, his company is gone, but in 2016, he recovers access to about $100 million kept in Ireland and now finances opposition from abroad. He's alive, speaking out, but this feud showed what happens when money goes up against an authoritarian state.
That isn't feuding for headlines. That's survival. This one's ugly.
Taylor Swift versus Scooter Braun. Scott Borchetta, Masters and Music War. Okay, pivot to pop, and this one got culture shook. 2005, A 15-year-old Taylor Swift signs with Big Machine Records, Scott Borchetta's label. Big Machine owns the masters to her first 6 albums. Fast forward to 2018, Taylor wants control. Scott's offer? A deal to basically earn back 1 master per new album. Taylor says no.
And then Scott sells Big Machine, masters and all, to Scooter Braun for $300 million. Scooter raps Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, even had ties to Kanye. Taylor goes nuclear. She posts on Tumblr, calls it her worst-case scenario. She rallies an army. Protect our girl. Like Taylor's...
Taylor does something genius. She re-records her first albums, Taylor's version, starting with Fearless Taylor's version on April 9th, 2021. It debuts at number 1. The original album drops in sales. Fans stream the Taylor versions, and she reclaims control and money. It's textbook leverage.
And Scooter, Jude got slammed. He posted a plea about threats. People went after him personally. It got ugly. Taylor turned a personal fight into an industry shift. Artists now see re-recording as a weapon. Labels started tightening contracts to block this. Power to the artist.
She changed the game, all because she refused that carrot-on-a-stick deal one exec offered. That's strategy, that's leverage, that's billionaire-adjacent energy.
Yo, here's some classic tech soap. Larry Ellison, Oracle, Genghis Khan Energy. In the 2000s, Ellison literally hired private investigators to go through Bill Gates' team's trash for dirt during Microsoft's antitrust fights. That's hardcore.
Dumpster dive diplomacy. Ellison said he was doing the public a service. Gates was doing philanthropy and enterprise. Different styles, same fight. Both men circling each other for decades. Ellison wins some battles but loses the PR war. Later, they mellowed. They even bonded over philanthropy and, weirdly, dumpster diving stories.
Billionaire friendships are like Hollywood co-stars: fight, reconcile, do a press photo. But the fight stories are the spicy bids.
Okay, back to 2 current and loud billionaires. Elon versus Zuck. It begins with SpaceX's failed Facebook satellite launch in 2016. Big oof. Then, Cambridge Analytica in 2018 pushes Elon to delete SpaceX and Tesla's Facebook pages. He's like, this platform gives me the willies.
Elon's temperament is tweet first, ask later. Later, he taunts Facebook on privacy and political influence. Then, Meta launches Threads. Elon jobs. Someone says Zuck does jujitsu. Elon says, if he's down, I'm up for a cage match. Zuck apparently trains. Zuck, send me location.
But the fight never happens. Excuses, timing, surgery rumors. Elon live streams himself training like an angry teenager. This is me curing a 45. Zuck quietly trains jiu-jitsu, wins some tournaments. It becomes less about the brawl and more about the narrative. Who's the alpha in tech? Who controls information? The fight is symbolic.
And underneath the jokes is the real fight. Free speech versus platform control, decentralization versus curated feeds. These guys aren't throwing punches for fun. They're fighting for future control of how information flows. That's heavy.
Crypto had its own gladiator drama. CZ of Binance and Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. 2019, Binance puts $25 million into FTX. Fast forward, SBF grows into a hero image. Messy hoodie CEO, stadium ads, celebrity deals, regulators cozying up. SBF wanted market dominance. He bought out stakes, printed his own token FTT, and used FTT as collateral. That's the thing. FTX's assets were shaky. On the morning of November 2022, a crypto site points out Alameda's exposure to FTT. CZ says Binance will sell its FTT. Panic, withdrawals, FTX collapses.
And the non-binding LOI, Binance was going to buy FTX and save it, but after seeing the books, CZ backed out. FTX implodes. Sam is arrested, charged, and later convicted in the largest crypto bankruptcy drama ever. CZ later faces his own legal trouble and short jail time. 2 titans, 1 crash, many victims.
It's a morality tale. Leverage, opacity, conflicts of interest. Billionaire flights in crypto aren't just drama. They sink ordinary people's savings. Cold. Switching continents, the Ambani brothers. Dhirubhai Ambani dies in 2002 without a will. Mom splits the empire. Mukesh gets industrial stuff. Anil gets telecom, finance. For a while, both prosper.
But then the brothers go public in newspapers. They fight over gas supply contracts, pricing worth billions. In 2009, the feud threatens national projects. Investors panic. These are national-scale grudges.
Mukesh plays slow and steady. Anil chases aggressive growth. By 2010, the Supreme Court sides with Mukesh in a key dispute. Mukesh later launches Jio in 2016, offering free voice and cheap data, and within 2 years, he destroys his brother's telecom business. Anil, once a billionaire, says his net worth is 0 in court, yet he's still driving a fleet of luxury rides.
That story's family pressure turned public. It's also about how business decisions ripple through economies. When brothers fight over billions, it affects electricity, jobs, and national stability. Intense.
Jobs versus Gates, Apple versus Microsoft, artist versus engineer. Classic. 1980s, Jobs and Gates start friendly. They even work together on early Macintosh stuff. Then Microsoft drops Windows with the GUI that looks a lot like the Mac.
Jobs goes ballistic, calls Gates a thief. Gates says, hey, Xerox hot this tech first. The insults fly. Jobs rips on Gates for lack of taste. Gates roasts Jobs for lack of practical discipline. But then, 1997, Apple's near collapse. Gates cuts them a $150 million deal to keep them afloat. Their relationship goes from full-blown hate to complicated respect. Jobs called Gates unimaginative. Gates called Jobs a visionary. Classic frenemies.
Their feud birthed innovation. Competition made both companies better. But man, the shade they threw would make Twitter blush. Elon versus Trump. Politics, Twitter, and ego.
Last one I want to do, Elon and Trump. Pre-2016, Elon criticized Trump. After the election, Elon joined advisory councils because he wanted to push sustainable energy. He later left the council after the Paris Agreement pullout.
Then politics shifts. Elon starts trolling, votes GOP in the House race, publicly criticizes policy, and Trump roasts him back. Elon won't buy Twitter. Elon calls Trump out on age and competency. It's childish, and yet every tweet sends headlines.
This one's weird because they both have political power and massive audiences. Their barbs matter for policy, for markets. It's not playground beef. It can affect democracy discourse. Scary and absurd at once. So, what we learned. Billionaire beefs come in flavors. Friendship betrayal, Winklevoss and Zuck, power versus money, Khodorkovsky versus Putin, culture fight, Taylor versus label execs, market collapse, Binance versus FTX, sibling war, and Bonnie, old tech grudges, Jobs versus Gates, and the modern social media cage matches, Elon versus Zuck.
And patterns. Speed and secrecy win markets. Public sentiment can be a weapon. Legal systems and governments often decide outcomes. And sometimes the personal becomes geopolitical. High risk equals cold cash, and sometimes cold revenge.
Also, never hand your rival a token that you printed yourself. Don't do that.
Facts. Also, if you're recording this, leave room to riff. These lines are a guide. Ad-lib all the laughs, the micro insults, and the gasps. Make it feel live. Interrupt each other. Pause for the audience's imaginary ooh.
And if you want a sequel, there's always more. Billionaires make more drama than reality TV.
All right, that's our show. High risk equals cold cash. Subscribe, tell your friends, and tell us which beef you want dissected next. Peace.
Peace. And remember, when billionaires fight, history sometimes pays the invoice.